What if the real plot twist in America's space story isn't on the launch pad, but in the declassified footnotes, quiet memos, blurry photos, and film canisters that fell from orbit into the Pacific? Tired of clickbait and rumor loops? Tonight we stick to the record. What was built, what flew, what worked, and where the paperwork quietly disagreed with the legend. We'll keep a simple rhythm for every stop on this tour. The feature, the insight, and one clear example you can picture: evidence with edges. Corona was the first big secret. These were film-return spy satellites at the start of the Cold War. They changed targeting and verification. Picture this: steel buckets dropping from orbit and being caught mid-air by an airplane. Discoverer was the public cover name. Those launches looked like science tests, but many were Corona rehearsals. Hiding capability reduced the chance of a crisis. Failures were logged as science, while the real team learned in the background. Then came Gambit and Hexagon. Higher resolution, panoramic mapping, continental scale. Hexagon even carried multiple film return capsules. Imagine a long satellite with several little pods, each one a separate delivery of pictures. Film had a hard limit. If it didn't come home, you had no intel. A lost bucket meant a blind spot and days of delay. That pressure pushed engineers toward real-time imaging long before it was truly possible. For decades, the National Reconnaissance Office operated in shadow. Its very existence wasn't admitted. Late in the Cold War, that changed. Even redacted org charts told you something. Secrecy has a half-life. Samos and Midas tried new things early on. Some ideas didn't stick. That mattered. The failures taught lessons that shaped the systems that did work later, including missile warning by infrared. Navigation came in steps. Before GPS, the Navy's transit satellites used Doppler shifts and timing. Later, better space clocks and smarter signal geometry turned that seed into global positioning. Policy shaped accuracy. GPS once degraded civilian precision on purpose. When that switch flipped to open access, entire industries were born. Farming, logistics, ride-hailing, and more. All because of a quiet policy change. Missile warning grew up with DSP satellites in geostationary orbit. They watched for hot launch plumes, and they did it fast, often before ground radar could see anything over the horizon. The manned orbiting laboratory planned to put military astronauts in a spy station. It was canceled and later declassified. The paperwork shows a simple truth: rapidly improving optics beat the value of human eyes. The MOL crews trained in secret. Declassification gave them their history back. The training photos look a lot like Apollo, until you notice the cramped camera hatch and the labels. KH-11 marked the move to electro-optical imaging. The logic is clear in released documents. Instant data beats risky film returns. Missions optimized for weather windows and real-time tasking became the norm. The space shuttle sometimes carried national security payloads. Post-flight paperwork, even redacted, shows tight coordination between civil and defense worlds. Some maneuvers lined up with orbits that weren't talked about publicly. Clementine was a defense test that mapped the moon. Dual use didn't mean secret, it meant 2 budgets and 2 goals. Science images went public. Some instrument memos did not. When Cold War imagery was declassified in the 1990s and 2000s, scientists used it to compare places decades apart. Glaciers, forests, cities. You could measure change from spy film now sitting in public archives. The secret isn't only in orbit. Ground networks, antennas, dishes, control rooms are the other half. Declassified photos show consoles with knobs and backlit buttons built for satellites that no longer fly. Budgets tell stories too. When a number shrinks in one line and grows in another, you can see priorities shifting. Even without the names, the pattern matches a family of satellites coming and going. High-altitude aircraft and satellites were siblings, not rivals. When clouds beat the satellite, planes stepped in. Maps with alternating coverage bands show how handoffs really worked. Telemetry, tracking, and command are the quiet backbone. You tell the satellite where to point, when to snap, and how to send data back. Declassified standards obsess over redundancy. 2 stations grabbing the same pass so you don't miss it. Orbits are policy choices. Sun synchronous for consistent lighting and shadows. GEO for constant watch. Highly elliptical for long looks at high latitudes. The orbit tells you the goal without a single word. Redaction is an art. Black bars hide, but they also hint. Read what's left and you can often see how programs were named and linked. Same schedule, same parts, different labels. Even black programs have human needs. Ops manuals show shift rotations, handovers, and go, no-go cards. It looks a lot like aviation culture, checklists, cross-checks, and coffee. Why declassify at all? Time lowers risk. Releasing old capabilities strengthens deterrence and scholarship without giving away the present. Corona images turned into training sets for the next generation of analysts. Myths don't survive daylight. Many documents are simple. We did X for Y reason and got Z result. A rumored mystery object sometimes turns out to be a calibration target for focusing tests. Spin-offs are real. Stable clocks, precision pointing, rugged compression algorithms, recon tech dripped into civilian life. GPS, earth science, weather nowcasting, crop forecasts. How do you read the next document dump? Start with dates, orbits, and budgets. Follow consistency. Match a test article to a production line by an unchanged mounting point. Small details anchor big stories. The truth of America in space is documented, not whispered. We've opened only a fraction of the boxes. Tomorrow, we keep going. 101 Space Secrets. Part 2 drops at Aero 7. Follow for the next relativist playbook. Evidence first, drama second.